There we go. Beautiful. Alright, where do I... Let's move in here. Yeah, so we have the bones throughout. Maybe I should get that, maybe I should get that torch to add some more natural lighting here. Eh. Why not? How expensive could it possibly be? Where do they sell torches, though? This is where they sell lanterns. Maybe here? Maybe it's Kale. Buddy, you sell a torch?
Trade again?
Nope. Kale. Howdy, Xavier. Good to see you. Let's see. How about here?
Wait. Well, you'll...
Ah, this.
Goodbye.
200? I don't got 200 of these. Let's see if I have. Okay. Wait, how much is that? Oh, where's my runes? Runes. Oh, there we go. Runes. Oh, that's 200. Okay, well, simple as it gets.
Goodbye.
Yeah. So just when I showed the Mesmer mail, you didn't say anything about the scale mail. I mean, we already knew he had that mail, so like, what was there more to say? I mean, I guess I could have talked about the like specific design on that, but I wasn't really. It didn't really grab me in particular. And gonna add to my over encumbered state, huh? Yeah, there we go. Coolio. Nope, that's not how that works. Nope, that's not how that works. There we go. Oop, oop. I can go through here one more time once we're done. Until then, yeah, let's go down here. Yeah, this could work. Guess I wanted to highlight more finger creepers down here in the sewers. But okay, yeah, that works. Cause like this one looks a little weird. I will admit. It's good when we want that, like, you know, what's it called? Not lithium. LED lighting or whatever it is. But outside of that, it can look a little awkward. Yeah, the reef thing. Yeah, it just didn't stand out to me in particular. Like, maybe when the guy's actually out, that'll change. But right now, not really grabbing. There we go. Alright, so that gets me some options. Yeah, we're not gonna trigger. I'll get that item one day, Jet. One of these days. Yeah, I like the lighting as is. Sir, rude. That's interesting. The design was on each scale. At least, oh yeah, sure. It's cool, a little detail. It's just it's not relevant for my purposes. So that's all. We already have a shot of this. Yeah, not anything particular. Just like, oh no, this entire area is collapsed and completely buried the statue for one. Oh wow, it's the full thing the statue's on too. That's actually extra neat. They didn't have to go that far. That's cool. Oh. Yeah, they went the full mile. That's cool. There we go. Ooh. Can I get the tail cut off? Who knows, maybe that item turns out to be really important. I'll have a use for this shot. It could happen. Oh, for your Radigan Age doc, you should mention that the tree guardians at the Minor Tree Church can drop centipedes. That I will make sure to add that. Thank you very much, Xavier. Again, if you ever want to like make sure you get that to me like ASAP, like as soon as you notice that, feel free to drop it in missing data. You know, it just occurred to me, these aren't the yellow flowers. That's probably the biggest argument to say that the Erd Tree has an effect on the plant life. And this is me trying to mitigate the clipping. Trying to get ahead of the clippers. There we go. Are you done? There you go. Also, you should mention that the Miranda flowers at the Perfumer Cave are unique and have deadly poison instead of normal. I'll save that for Dupre. I'll put that in the Dupre Perfumer doc I have. Maybe I should actually post that because now I've made it a separate thing. Because this looks fine, chat, right? Like, this looks fine. But I think for the purposes of highlighting the fingers, I should also try to maybe get something like this. Alright, that's enough. Hello, Tyrone. Been at every stream this week to ask the horny questions and here for more. Feet tier list when? Never. I'm sorry. I will refuse to make the Miyazaki tier list. I know that he will be watching. It will definitely attract him, but I will not bait him like that. I am a good fan. I am one of the good ones. Also, where the hell did the rest of you come from? Are you underground? Really? I'll be honest, I was half expecting that to kill me. I know there was no way in hell that was gonna do it, but I still like half expected it just because it's me. Oh. Well, that wasn't my intention, but you know, it is what it is. Can I at least get your playlist? Oh, what kind of playlist are we talking about? Music or stuff? Because I'm not really a playlist type of person. I'm really not. Like, most of my playlists are just for the live streams and stuff. For a second, I thought they had worms. I was like, wait, what? Do I have to go searching to see if some of these have worms and some don't in their heads? Like, oh boy. Oh yeah, interesting thing I noticed is that the lady statue with the candle at the Haley tree is the same lady that's missing her hands at the hero's grave. Or at the very least, the same model. Really? Huh. That actually goes to the idea of that one statue being Marika and everything being all about Marika if they're using the same one from the hero's graves, because all of those figures are presumably intended to represent Marika. There we go, problem solved. Music, I need your music playlist. I always enjoy the music you play. Oh, okay. Well, for these live streams, I've been doing background music from the Honkai Star Rail OST. So if you've seen any of my Honkai Star Rail streams, you'll know what game that's from. But yeah, I usually like to get the I really love the OST for this game, and there's always like a pretty cool one there. So like you can check out Hoyo Mix. They post all their they post all their, like, I don't know if, like, the word is album or not, right? But they basically post all their stuff for, their games that you can get, in-game, right? So, like, whether it's, like, a boss theme or, like, you know, background music on a planet or something, so... You can totally just look that up and listen to it yourself, so... I try to keep it typically to one song per area, because personally, for me, I just like to, I'm the type of person that when I get into the groove of something, it's because of one certain song and the emotion it evokes, and it just kind of, like, you know, keeps me going for, like, sometimes days. But yeah, you can listen to, like, the full playlist they got for each of their albums as the game continues to update. Like, right now they've got up to, I think up until, like, the last month or so of, songs, so, yeah. So yeah, just type in, like, Honkai Star Rail OST Hoyo Mix. I'm sure some of the Hoyo's other games are also very good, so maybe you can check those out. Outside of that, I'm trying to think of, like, I mean, every now and then I'll sometimes, like, have an anime opening or ending or something if there's a song I really like from there. Like, Eminence in Shadow was a what was it? The Time for War, was it? I think I forget what the exact title to the song was. I really like that one. The problem though using the animes and stuff is it's such a pain in the ass when they're like, we're gonna copyright claim and stuff. And yes, I know I'm not monetized or anything, so it's not like it's a huge deal to me, but still. Okay, I've had enough of like going through and like falling down the same hole over and over again, trying to figure out how to navigate this. So. Hey, buddy. There we go. Gonna be hard to convince the people enjoy the sibling dynamic of Godwin hanging out with the twins. I mean, listen. Listen, I can't convince people who are already set in stone on what they believe, right? My work, my goal, chat, has always been to just get that info stuff out there. Interesting how they consider the sewers catacombs, which again makes sense because, you know, Langdale catacombs connection and all that. But just, you know, just kind of funny looking at it here. Anyway, but yeah, like my goal isn't to convince people who are already dead set on like this thing being the thing, right? I'll convince the people who are interested in hearing other takes that may or may not be true. They can decide that for themselves. And that's the beauty of it. As long as I hopefully get the message across to them that, hey, you know what? This English localization, it's not all that it's cracked up to be in all these games, necessarily. Maybe I should be looking to see if the Japanese might have new, additional, and hopefully better insight into what exactly is going on, so I can properly understand the narrative of these games. Again, like I said, I already took this shot, but god damn it, I love this image, chat. I just love the image. And that's totally okay for me, right? I'm not going out there to be the most popular FromSoft creator, per se. I obviously have the ear of a lot of FromSoft creators. I've made some great relationships with all of them to do still. I'm always open to any FromSoft creators. Yes, even those I've criticized. Even people I really like, I still am gonna criticize them all the same. I try to be objective there, right? But, like, none of that stuff matters to me. I'm totally fine with working with these people, but I'm not trying to, like, use them in order to make sure that my own popularity surges. Mwahahaha. If I could just get the word out there and people can take some alternate takes, that's great. So yeah, if there's people who are dead set on like, you know, Godwin and Miquella and Malenia having this really deep and wonderful relationship, and that, you know, Godwin's really the driving force for all this Halig Tree stuff, and sure, I mean, like, oh, and who knows, maybe some of that is in fact true, but I'm not so convinced when it comes to the statues. And I think what you just brought up to me, Xavier, adds to my suspicions. As always, we have our favorite creations of Godwin. Nothing particularly Deathroot-y here, though. Am I wrong? I think I have a shot of the guys behind the... I'm very convinced America is responsible for a lot of things that happen in this game. Yeah, I know some people, for example, take the position that America is behind the Night of the Black Knives, for example, which, again, the scenario sounds way too irrational to me. especially given what we know, like, the whole Godwyn thing. Like, you have to believe that America was involved in the assassination of her own children, that involved a conspiracy involving some of her own children that were actively plotting against her at the same time, and that as a result of all this, she then drove herself crazy to the point that she decides she's going to, outside of her, you know, like, against her own interests, destroy the ring, which props up her regime, and having her other half try to stop her. Keep in mind, like, none of this was involved, like, Ratigan at all either, right? He's actively trying to prevent this, right? And she's like, you know, she's mastermind by that. I'm like, Yeah, Night of the Black Knives, yeah. That's the one thing where I see a lot of people, though, like, going in that direction. I'm just like, yeah, no. But, like, other stuff, you think she's been a driving force in the Lands Between longer than the game lets on? I mean, how long are we talking about here? Like, if we're talking about, like, way before even her own kingdom and stuff, I mean, maybe. Depends on how long she's been alive and stuff and things. But we'll have to see. The DLC will be a great indicator to confirm your theory, Tyrone, because if we have the idea that Marika, if we get, like, evidence of, like, Marika being, like, integrally involved into this kingdom and, like, from, like, the very beginning of its inception or whatever, not necessarily kingdom, right, but whatever the civilization is before the Erd Tree that's going to connect into the farm colonies and stuff, and we find that she was an integral part of that for a prolonged period of time and not just, like, oh, she recently arrived and then she got involved in this thing for a little bit at the end and then she, like, destroyed it after making her Erd Tree because she betrayed people and stuff. Then, yeah, I think that idea would have legs then. Then we would have to start questioning, okay, well, what else has Marika been involved in? Is she involved in the ancient dynasties collapse, in the ancient civilizations collapse? Is she possibly involved for why the Nox ended up, like, underground, right? Like, there's a lot of questions then there. I am curious exactly what Miquella's connection with Marika would be with the statues, though, right? Because we also have the cursed eye and stuff. Like, was this an idea she was working out with Miquella beforehand? Was this originally her idea that Miquella then sort of picked up as a project and then he adapted it to his pure gold ideal? Is the pure gold idea itself something that was taken from Marika? There's a lot of questions there that I would love to explore. But at the moment, I'm just, you know, it's just not my focus right now because I just have been avoiding Miquella until the DLC is ready to give us all the deets on him and what he's potentially planning. Yeah, I agree. The statues you see in churches and stuff, well, yeah, mostly chapels, like you say, but, like, yeah, in certain churches and stuff with, like, the hooded woman, and she's either got the vase, or she's got her arm extended out, or she's just standing there. You see it in catacombs, too. Yeah, that's, in all likelihood, another depiction of Marika. Yeah, generally, when we see, like, women in, like, veils and hoods and stuff, that tends to be, like, traditionally, that's been Miyazaki at least either talk about a class of people or, like, representing one specific person. It's not necessary, you know, you have concept artists and stuff, they're drawing all sorts of things, right? But that's usually the idea is that is intended by the final game to be representative of one specific person by the association of where we find it. So I would agree there. Yeah, Nox obviously look different from normal Newman, but yeah. Yeah, we know that Marika's Newman and stuff, so she has a connection to the Nox that way. The question is, and like I said, there's been a, I said this like a few streams ago at least, but I've been very fascinated by a theory I saw in the Japanese community that Marika might in fact there we go. I've been very interested in this theory that Marika might in fact be, what's the word? Yeah, so that she's essentially an alien would be the way to describe it, right? That she set down on a, this is separate from the original Newman who come down from the cosmos, but essentially she comes down as a part of a separate event, and then, that's why it talks about how she sets foot on this land and stuff like that, because the term used really is like descend or come down upon, right? Like kind of like when you get off a horse, like, you know, you get off and you land on your feet down there, right? So, I love this idea that, like, oh, what if there's been more than one migration of Newman into the lands between. And that idea, like, really fascinates me. And I don't know if it's true, but I just think that's a really neat idea because I've never considered that as a factor. I just haven't seen any of the evidence for it, or at least it never stood out to me. But, like, I'm look at that, I'm like, oh yeah, you know, maybe I should, like, change, you know, adjust my lens and kind of, like, keep that into consideration when looking at things and see if that changes anything. Or helps, like, cause some pieces to fall into place more. What do you think the Greater Will is doing? Do you subscribe to the theory that the Greater Will is dead, or what do you believe? I don't really have much opinion on stuff like that related to the cosmology. I wouldn't say I think the Greater Will is dead, just because we have an outright statement by the narrator of being forsaken by the Greater Will. Now, generally, in my experience working on these games, it is better to trust the games by default until proven otherwise, right? Like, for example, you don't trust Patches when he tells you that there's treasure down there, and he, you know, oh, he can't do this, and he goes to get it, because, like, literally 5 seconds later, he kicks you down and then laughs about how he's, you know, like, clearly lied to you and stuff like that, right? Like, so, obviously, this doesn't mean, like, trust everything everyone says unconditionally, but that's generally my stance on these things. I think that covers everything. So, yeah, I think there is, in fact, a Greater Will. I think the Greater Will probably does want us to do what it is. Now, whether or not the Greater Will is actively involved in orchestrating the events via direct intervention, that I'm not as sure about. Again, I haven't thought about it too hard. And that goes to, like, the cosmology of what is the Greater Will true goal, what's it trying to do, like that's all stuff that I'd, like, sort of put off to the side, being like, you know what, someone else can figure that shit out. I'm not going to be the one to do it this time. The Greater Will's just watching. Yeah, that's another idea. Some people think that, you know, America is the one who's actually behind everything that's been attributed to the Greater Will by the Two Fingers and stuff, right? And again, I haven't even been in the game, so I don't think it's even fair for me to judge that idea. Wow, there's a lot fewer of, I was expecting a little bit more of this than I thought with all the other, like, manholes and stuff they have, but no, there's really not many of them. Good to know. Yeah, and this, yeah, again, and this is something where it goes to something super deep into the cosmology of the game that, like, it's a super hard question to, you have to infer back on. And that, it's just not something, like, I'm not going to make a, I'm not going to stake a position on this. Like, right off the bat. There we go. Perfect. Hey, Kiskim? I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. America's hammer being from the land of Newman is weird to me. Do they have Blaxus up in the cosmic realm? Yeah, that's what... I found that curious, too. I was like, how detailed is this? Now, again, I've talked about how I believe the Dreamlands and the Cosmos are probably one and the same, similar to, like, Bloodborne, right? And if that's the case, you could argue maybe there's, like, a dimensional space that's somewhat like our traditional world, or at least something approaching it. And that's how, yeah, lightning fruit, right, liver. Okay, that makes sense. Just doing this so I can edit that yellow leaf out. Gotta be a fraudster. Anyway, but yeah, it's also a question because what if the hammer was created specifically because the Newmen were expected? Because we only see it really used to work with the Elden Ring. We don't see it used in traditional stuff. So I've talked about the idea of maybe Marika having a history of runesmithing in her family. But again, this goes back to the idea, did Marika come down by herself in a separate migration or something? Does she even have family in traditional sense? Like, again, there's a lot of questions there. Again, currently my stance would be saying, like, okay, I think Marika comes from the Nameless Eternal City down below, and then she, like, comes up when the time is needed, right? Joins up with Godfrey and stuff. But with the DLC coming and adding Mesmer into the mix and stuff, this picture might end up being a lot more complicated than the simple narrative I'm currently able to argue out. So we'll see how that plays. there's so many factors into considering, like the greater will, who's the great, like who or what really is the greater will when you get down to it and stuff, right? I've talked about it before, like I have suspicions based on just like my casual gaming experience. I'm like, I wonder if the greater will's the sun. Wouldn't it be the first time Miyazaki's done something like that? But yeah, like until I actually decide I'm gonna sit down and like go on the cosmology, or like more or less find someone who I think overwhelmingly gets it right, I'm really not devoting any thought to it. I didn't even consider that there's this this carriage coffin here in the corner. Man, this is an annoying part about doing this with... Maybe this is a benefit of glowstones. Found the benefit to glowstones. Let's get that one. Again, we're gonna try to make it so this is easy to edit out. Yeah, I could just put some black splotches there, get a little copy pasted there, and bada bing, bada boom, it's done. Have you looked into people trying to explain the cosmology? Nope. Maybe there's someone out there who's done it, but I have not seen it yet. Like I said, it's just not something that I'm really focused on right now. I'm trying to focus on the more recent things, the more tangible things, and maybe I'll be able to work out... I've worked out, like, obviously some cosmological stuff. With Erdtree Burial now, if it turns out that the removal of the Rune of Death happened from the Erdtree's inception, that's going to now make Erdtree Burial a lot simpler, because now we don't have to worry about, okay, there was Erdtree Burial done originally under this set of circumstances, but then circumstances changed. Now we can basically just say, okay, Erdtree Burial was done consistently throughout this way. So that's going to be useful. But yeah, that's a separate thing. Also, I was seeing Sekiro Doobie confirm that in the files, at least, they refer to this as tree sap, so that's cool. That's neat. Just use a little bit... Listen. I think I know why the Age of Plenty ended, chat. It wasn't because of any of this cosmological stuff or the, you know, the flaws of creating the Crucible or whatever. It was because they kept using it to seal the doors. I doubt we'll ever get a full cosmology breakdown from from Miyazaki. It seems like his thing is to blue ball us. Well, yeah, Miyazaki's entire point is to be like, well, here it is, you can see it. You figure it out, right? Like, you're smart cookies, right? That's more or less Miyazaki's position on these things, and I say more power to him. I think that's it's really conducive to video games. That interactive medium that you can kind of go through and you can see how the world behaves and infer the truth from that. So I think it's very respectable. Figure that's tree sap, since the same says it's coming out of the Halo tree, which is obviously tree sap. Yeah, it has a similar look to it, right? But I was willing to be open, like, is it like a resin? Is it more like, you know, is it more like a resin, or is it like some sort of like other kind of secretion? Maybe you want to argue the perfumers made it using some sort of medicinal, you know, not medicinal, right? But you know, like, you know, plant-based stuff, right? I wasn't gonna like have a hard stance on it, but yeah, tree sap makes perfect sense. I didn't even think about this when I was doing like some updates to Age of Plenty. Oh yeah, I have to update that so the green text goes away. God, thank God, goodness, I reminded myself. Excuse me. There we go. Excuse me, sir. There we go. Man, his jump. We need to bring back vaults. Bring back Demon Souls vaulting. Seriously, great mechanic, horribly implemented. Just do it right, Miyazaki. You know, I know you can. Also, I was going the wrong way again. I keep making this mistake, Jet. Yeah, this is good. Coolio. I think that massive hole in the tree might have something to do with the Age of Plenty. You mean the one where we entered to get into the Elden Ring area, or something else? Like, are we talking about this thing here? This giant cleave? Maybe. I don't really have a strong position on that thing. Because we see the whole golden thing all the way up here is like more so magical stuff, right? And then like it tapers off into these like thread type things and then goes into being normal branches and stuff. God, I still love how they have this giant like block thing that they keep here. But like, yeah. He was called by Fortisax personally, or caused by Fortisax personally. Why Fortisax specifically? Why not say Grand Sax or something like that? Also, I don't think any of the Ancient Dragons would be involved because the Ancient Dragon War seems to take place post Age of Plenty, so like well after it because they're using completely different sigils for it compared to what we see with Crucible era stuff. Even if we assume the Glowmite Queen incident takes place before the, or like just before the Erd Tree / Crucible's creation, that would still be Black Bows. Is that for Tarnished, if I recall correctly? No, not really. Longbow carved from black wood to resemble a blade. Unless it's used by someone very specific, I'm not getting why it would be here. Oh, you meant Grand Sax. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think Ancient Dragon War takes place a little after the Age of Plenty formally ends. So I don't think maybe Grand Sax is responsible for that hole still, but I don't think it has to do with the Crucible and the Age of Plenty ending personally. And once the DLC's out, we'll have the full data for a lot of stuff. So that'll help a lot with the timeline and trying to figure out what happens when and why. Oh yeah, this is the longbow that shoots like a short bow, if I recall correctly. Yeah, is there a specific Tarnished who uses a this black bow or something? Because if so, then I can understand why it's here, right? Similar to some of the other stuff related to Tarnished we find in this lower quarter. Yeah, I really don't have any of these storage stuff elsewhere. It bothers me because I could have swore there was more stuff than just this, but it's really only there. Obviously, Fortified Manor, it's in the ramparts and stuff. Like, I could have swore there was other just like rooms and stuff that we could find it, but we're finding more chairs than we do find any of that. Hey buddy, do you mind? I am wondering, because I'm trying to figure out whether or not... Oh, well, that's, sir, why do you have vampire fangs? Like, I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to have incisors like that, but, you know... Now that I've noticed, I'm gonna... Anyway, I'm trying to figure out when exactly, the Omen killers show up. Because Omen Incident happens well before perfumers are a thing, right? So you have perfumers showing up well afterwards. But like all the Omen are either in the sewers or enslaved on the frontier. So are they like going over to like Stormvale and being like, we're gonna kill all your Omen? Like that doesn't sound right. So are they just like regularly like going down in the sewers and just hunting some Omen down? Was that their shtick? I can't imagine it would be that hard. Like, huh? Yeah. Or is it like these are post-shattering that they came to exist and they're just hunting down like Omen that were in like Altus and stuff because of all that? Which again, I could totally buy, but it's just like, huh? Actually, where the heck would you get Black Wood? I'm wondering that too. I want to look at the Japanese description of that now and see if it's referring to I mean, presumably it'd have to come from a black tree, but maybe it's supposed to be like paint or something. I have to check the terminology. Corral. They purposely took the lion out for this one. Yeah, we're good. What was the fun fact I told about the perfumery outfits again? I know it has 2 sets contain the same decoration. Oh, you're expecting me to remember, Xavier? Oh, fat chance of that happening. Almost made a mistake there. Fat chance of that happening. They have the aprons, of course. They have these little necklace things with, like, spike stuff. Their cloak is curious to me, because it's more of this yellow thing, which I guess is to show their dedication to the Erdtree to the extreme, right? Because they're trying to get rid of all the Omen for gold or whatever, right? I think Marika persecuted the Omen at the order of the Greater Will. Well, based on the events revealed in the DLC trailer, she might have been persecuting the Omen. And again, it should be talked about like there was an inconsistency there. Like commoners were having Omen children basically thrown out with the bathwater, but the royals were of course continuing to keep theirs and stuff. And Marika and been keeping her seemingly for the longest until like the very end, until like really like, oh, I have to do this. But anyway, as far as like Marika's motivations for allowing the Omen incident to go the way it did, seems to be more so related to the fact that those vengeful spirits may have been specifically manifesting horns because they come from the pre-Erdtree civilization, which also had horns, from the Elden Ring and stuff. So it's like, very, very, she might have a specific motivation for wanting to make sure that no one thinks too hard or inquires too deeply about this history that she's kept hidden, right? About Mesmer and stuff. And the slaughter, you know, this ignoble massacre of a civilization to establish hers. Which, I'll be honest, I'm still not entirely sure how that makes sense. Because, like, surely there's people who are alive who know about, like, it's not like, how do you, like, keep something like that under wraps is what I have to wonder. Especially when you consider, like, everything else about the civilizations also involved and connected and stuff like this with the lions and everything. Like, I have many questions about many things when this DLC comes out. Hey, Nobre. I think I'm almost done here. I've looked at kind of like all the stuff underground that I could possibly look at for. Actually, you know, I shouldn't say that. I could still look at some of the Moog stuff. Yeah, I can still do that. It's the same thing, okay. I want to double check that. Of course, these are gold. Why do Lane Dell buildings have wax in them? We were talking about this earlier, Nobre. Sekiro Doobie was talking about on Twitter that these are actually, this is actually tree sap. as for why they're doing it, I assume it's to keep people from like sheltering in their homes and stuff. Again, I assume it's part of the. I assume after the either during or after the second defense of Lingdell, Morgott has had everybody conscripted to help defend the capital and be on high alert, which is why we see so many commoners and stuff on the in the buildings or like on the balconies and stuff, right, with the perfumers. So yeah, this just takes you either to the tree branch or no. You know what? Let's try, where is it? Forsaken Depths. Yeah, this is it, right? The way Morgott's spells have crucible symbols makes me think there's more to. Okay, I'm trying to think. Do we see a sigil with anything that Morgott casts? I don't recall. We see, I know when he summons himself, he uses the dead crucible sigil, which I think is I think what you may be confusing it with, Tyrone. But I think his actual spells in battle are just him manifesting the weapons and stuff. There's also, of course, Godfrey. Godfrey's the same thing, right? I don't think. Is that using crucible sigil? I can't remember. When he does the Godfrey summon or when he summons himself. I have shots of it. I just don't remember it off the top of my head now. Hey, Pedro. Yeah, spells don't have the symbol, at least. Let me pull it up. Let me, in fact, add photo. I know I have this here. Not Altus Tunnel. Lingdell. I think it is Crucible Sigil. Maybe. Because I don't think it's the dead one. I think the dead one is only on the, yeah, the dead one, I think, is only on their prison shackles, which tell us when they were in prison. But, like, his actual magic is definitely during Age of Plenty Crucible era. Yeah, it spawns Crucible. Yeah, okay. Let me just confirm with myself right here. Get this on the other side. There we go. Yeah, there it is, Crucible. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, and then the dead Crucible Sigil is the one for the imprisonment, right? Like, so that's like really like the absolute end of the timeline. Oh, this is Melina. This is Melina doing her shtick. Ah, there we go. There we go. God, remember when we did this, chat? This was fun. Yay! Yay! Overgrown yet dying Crucible. So yeah. Morgott and Mohg were raised on the surface, hence why they're both eloquent and definitely well educated in their holy incantations. There we go. Uh-oh. Game froze for a second. We're gonna be here for a while, I think. Let's just enjoy the background. Get a shot of his baby wings? Sure, as soon as I have control. There we go. These are his baby wings. These little stubs. I do love the idea that one of his fingers has its joints growing a horn. Creates quote-unquote 6 fingers then. Still needs to get that eye checked out. Yeah, you have to keep in mind this was originally used for like a generic, like elite type enemy, probably. So the details may not necessarily always line up perfectly with the finalized version of the character and stuff, but I think it's good enough to just examine them. God, this feels so blurry. It feels like this would actually be better if I looked at the actual player version of the weapon. Yeah, nothing too crazy. Oh yeah, look, I saw people speculating on how Mesmer might be a demigod child before Marika marrying Godfrey. But Godric and mentioned how the first demigods were the golden lineage. Do you think description is wrong by any chance? Let me bring this up. I actually have to double check if Miyazaki ever refers to him actually as a demigod. Could be, but let me see if I can find this. Another simple explanation would be that Godfrey has red hair, or that Ratigan already existed, and that's why Mesmer manifests that. Or that Marika's natural hair color was red before she had the Elden Ring and became God, and then it turned blonde. Like, there's plenty of explanations for why. That's not it. Let me check. Where's the mirror? There we go. Let me go grab the text here. We're looking at Godric's Great Rune, correct? Loki, do we know anything about Velka's role in Anor Londo before Seath and stuff? No, not really. The implication would just be that she was always, you know, a witch that was always, you know, studying and looking into all sorts of magic and stuff. But, like, if we're talking about, like, in the politics or the government or anything, like, no. We don't really have anything for her before becoming the Goddess of Sin. Alright, so let's see, Godric's Great Rune. Alright, so let's see. For Godfrey, first Elder King and his descendants, the Golden Clan, were the first demigods. Now, you could make the argument that just because they're talking about the first demigods were that, doesn't necessarily mean the very first demigod was necessarily, right? You could always argue that there's an exception, but until the DLC's out, it's hard to say whether or not that's sort of the weasel way to get out of this. Oh yeah, when objects that the Renala baby throw with gravity magic respawn, it spawns in a puff effect that's kind of similar to the second phase transition Mist Shadow stuff. That makes sense because if I recall correctly, the Shadow stuff in general comes from the Amber Egg. Am I right? Or am I forgetting? Anyway, to answer your question, Pedro, I've also been wondering such a thing, if it's possible that Mesmer predates it, but it really depends. Is the term demigod ever actually used? Like, or is it like just like, you know, he's like a demigod or something, or he's, you know, is there just a comparison to the demigods without actually calling him a demigod and stuff? Like, there's a few things I'd have to question about that first. And when if we get the DLC and then we talk about how, you know, the demigod that is never spoken about or you know, like, is never recorded or something like that. That would be the best way to, again, sort of weasel their way out of that description, so it would be, you know, technically wrong, really. It's like, you know, if you exclude Mesmer... Miyazaki, if I recall correctly, said he could be comparable to a demigod. Okay, so if Miyazaki's exact words was, in fact, just he could be comparable to a demigod, that leaves a whole heckin' a lot open for, yeah, that leaves a lot open for interpretation. So he might not necessarily be a demigod, even if he is a child of Marika, right? He may not be recognized because this is before demigods were a thing, because technically, Mesmer was born before Marika was God, right? Right? So if she's not God, then how can he be a demigod, right? It would have to be completely, you know, retroactive after the fact. But he's going, presumably, to the land of shadow right after, you know, she's becoming, like, she's becoming a god and having him do all this massacre and stuff. So he's never going to be officially acknowledged and labeled with that title. So that's, again, there are ways to justify this. Now, whether or not that means that he's the child of Godfrey and stuff, I have no idea. We're going to see. It's purple and it moves stuff, so it's close enough for me. Yeah, I saw the thing with the Omen Belt, Xavier. I do find this funny every time they use the crushed pose. It will never not be funny to me. That works. Thank you. Thank you for not pressing the button, Barbarian Man. Oh, wait, but forget about these things. Like, what is all this? Just magically starts coming down here. Ah, it's justify this waterfall here. I see. Oh no, wait, or is it? Oh no, it just, never mind. It doesn't justify that whatsoever. Wait, at what angle are you supposed to be able to see that? I guess they just have it there just in case. I don't know. I don't know what angle you'd be able to see any of that. Alright, this one's weird to me, because it's like, alright, you have a staircase, but all the water comes out here and not the rest? Like, what? I mean, I guess it's possible if you have 3 sources of it falling out that not a lot of it's going to come down. I don't know. I don't know, that's a little weird to me. I feel like it would spread out a lot more, but I don't know, what do I know? I'm not in charge of gravity. Yeah, they just got these giant floodwaters here happening. Okay, sure, whatever you say, gang. Ah, so this is what it's for. It's for over here. Not really for those up there, though. America did the team with Soul of Cinder and made Mesmer, hence why he's red. Because for his flame, Soulsborne multiverse confirmed. I hate you, Mowbray. He's the dad of Frampton Cough. His snakes grow to become them. Don't think about it, Loki. I'm gonna try not to think as much as possible. Don't worry. I will stop thinking at the drop of a hat. Wait. Okay, there's a wall. Thank God. I was about to be like, wait a second. Are you telling me I could just look to the left or right and see the broken geometry? Did they really have that big of an oversight? No. Oh, yeah. Where's this supposed to be again? Oh yeah, nowhere where there could possibly be this much light coming down. Woo. Always funny. Wow, look, you really comparing Elden Ring for DS2? Shame on you. Listen, it's the DS2 too. It can take a few punches. We're back here. I think I dropped down from there, and that's why, yeah. Okay, I think we're done here. Oh, wait. Yep, still got maggots. You mean best souls too? Worst souls too? They called it Dark Souls because they wanted to cast it down into forgotten history like the Dark Ages. Let's see. Nothing else really stands out as like one-offs I want to grab, right? Yeah. Okay, I think that's where we're gonna end it for today then, chat. It's from Software's emo phase. Their B team phase. Let's get Tanimura to have one screw up so he gets the experience to make something good like Sekiro. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything that's like stands out to me as like I really want to grab or whatever. I think I have most of the stuff I want to have for Long March. Like everything else, I'm just gonna have to probably edit together something. And then I have to make yeah, with the Karian thing, I now have to wonder if this is gonna come into play. Like we're gonna see the lands in Shadow are gonna take up like all this or whatever. Which, I mean, it could work. Be a little weird when you consider like the Forbidden Lands and stuff, I guess. But like, yeah, it could work. Hey, we'll have to see when we see the final like size and look of the Land of Shadow map. But yeah, it's a Souls game too. Yeah, yeah. I mean, to Dark Souls 2, it has so many similarities with Elden Ring. I mean, you have to go and become king, and get ganked by people. And play Souls combat. I mean, my God, it's crazy. Like, are they allowed to do that? From Software should be sued. Just freaking blatantly ripping off themselves. Yeah, everything's good here. Okay, yeah, so I think we're gonna end this here, chat. Alright, so this is a bit of a late night stream, but it's fine. Great chatting with all of you. Yeah, tomorrow's Memorial Day and stuff, so I don't know if I will be streaming. I'll still try, but, like, again, depends on how my holiday goes, so. If not, I'll probably be streaming on Tuesday, so see you guys then at the latest. Bye-bye for now.